Hi guys, Brianne here, or you can call me Coach Bree now. I wanted to talk a little bit about myself and get into my why power. But first off, just a little bit about me. I'm 23 years old. I've already gone through a pretty big weight loss journey. My dad passed away about 3 years ago, and after he passed away, I gained around 30 pounds. And I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I felt. Me, personally, I'm a camera whore. I love taking pictures of myself. And even when I was a little girl, my mom would be trying to do my hair, and I'm like turning my head to look at myself in the mirror. So I got to the point where I literally never took pictures of myself. I hated looking in the mirror. Every time I tried taking pictures of myself, I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel like myself. I wasn't happy. And so along with all that, after my dad passed away, like I said, I had developed really bad anxiety, depression, insomnia. I was on 3 different types of medication from my therapist. I was going to see my therapist once or twice a week to talk about my issues. I was having nightmares. I was at a really, really bad place in my life, and I felt lost. And that was kind of like the first part of my big journey. I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, you know what? I don't have to feel this way. I don't have to look this way. I am capable. It is up to me. I have the power in myself to make a difference. 20, 30, an hour a day, I could, change my life. So I started off slow, stopped eating fast food, stopped drinking soda, because I had found out that drinking just one, can of soda a day could add 8 to 12 pounds if you're drinking one can every day for a year. And that was like, whoa, oh my God, I'm drinking like 3 to 5 cans a day of Mountain Dew and stuff like that. So stopped drinking soda and stopped eating fast food. A little bit more about my dad's story. My dad was an alcoholic, and he had been an alcoholic my entire life. He relapsed every 3 to 6 months. My parents were divorced for 3 years, from the time I was 8 to 11, and I know people that go through parents that get divorced, or all that kind of stuff. I've been through that. I was fortunate enough to have my parents get back together, and they seriously were soulmates. So my dad relapsed every 6 months to a year. So when he was in the middle of his relapse, I didn't see him as my dad. He was not the person that I knew. But when he was sober, he was such an amazing person. And in my eyes, I kind of see it as there are those people in the world that have really good qualities, but their bad qualities are so bad you can't overlook them. My dad was the complete opposite. He had really bad qualities, but his good qualities were so good that you forgave him every single time. And he had such a big heart, and he loved his community, and he was a football coach at the high school, so he loved his football players, and he loved working out. My dad was a big guy. He was buff. He had to walk like this because his muscles were so big, and people would be like, oh my gosh, that's your dad, he's so huge. So my dad was like my Superman. And the fact that he passed away from working out, the choices that he made in his life that led up to that, just broke my heart. That day that my dad passed away, I was leaving the house. I was going to go tanning or something, and I had this overwhelming urge to stop and tell him that I loved him. So I stopped at the door and I turned around and I said, I love you, Dad. He goes, I love you too, buddy. Buddy was his nickname for me since I was a little girl. And then while I was tanning, he had left to go, manage the weight room at the high school, which was, 3-4 blocks away. It's just right down the road. And I had to go get ready for work. I was at work for about an hour, and my boyfriend at the time had called me and said, babe, they found your dad face down on the ground, unconscious and unresponsive. And my first thought was, we had thought my dad was hypoglycemic. I was like, okay, well, maybe he didn't eat that day and he fainted or something. And they took him to the hospital, and when we got to the hospital, they were asking us all these questions like, is this your right address? Is this your number? And I thought that was really strange. And I'm like, just tell me if my dad's okay. And they put us in this tiny room. It was like a closet, and it had like a couch and a little chair, like a couch, like a set. And we're sitting in there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And my mom and the doctor comes into the room, and as soon as I saw my mom's face, I knew exactly, I just had a feeling that my dad was gone. And she looks at me, my brother, and my sister, who are a few years younger than me, and she says, your dad suffered a major heart attack, and unfortunately they were unable to save his life. And all I could think was, oh my God, like, this can't be real. And when we went in to, see his body and say our goodbyes, my mom looked at his cell phone, and it said that there was an unread text message. So she goes to look at, sorry about that, I got a phone call. So my mom looked at my dad's phone, and it was a drafted message. And it was about the time that, he had passed away. So she looked at the phone, and the drafted message read, I love, and then the letter Y. The very last thing that my dad tried to do before he died was tell my mom that he loved her. And it's funny because, they had talked a few days prior, and my dad had told my mom that when he does cardio, he gets chest pains. And they joked around like, oh, don't go having a heart attack on me. And 2 days later, 2 blocks away from our house, he was walking home. And I had told him, call Jeremy, who was my boyfriend at the time, call Jeremy and have him, when you're done working out, like, have him come pick you up. And it was just the kind of person that my dad was. He didn't see the end of his workout as the end of his workout. Our house was close, so walking home was his cool down. So after he died and they did the autopsy, we found out that he was actually diabetic, which is the opposite of hypoglycemia. And so his alcoholism and, the poor health choices that he made in his life, even though he was an active guy and, he was pretty healthy, he was physically fit, there was things that he had done in his past that led to him having an unhealthy life. So that's part of my why power, is to, if I really, one side of it, I guess, if you really want to get down to the emotional part of it, is that I don't want people to have to go through that and see their friends or their, grandma or grandpa or their mom or dad or someone that they love or someone that they're close to suffer from obesity or diabetes or, just being unhappy with their weight or themselves or the way that they look. Like, I don't want people to have to go through that. And then along with that, the other side of it, the business and like personal, I guess, success side of it, is that my dad passed away 3 years ago, and I'm still living at home. I'm still stuck here. I can't pay all my bills by myself. I mean, I pay for my car. And I pay for, like miscellaneous bills, but like I don't pay rent at my house because I can't afford it. I don't pay my own cell phone bill because I can't afford it. I'm 23 years old, and I feel like I'm not where I should be. I'm not going anywhere, and I have all these plans for the future, but I don't know how to get there. I feel trapped. I feel stuck, and I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to, I want to be able to make a future and a life for myself. I want to be able to be independent and support myself. And, right now, I feel like I can't do that. I'm definitely at a much better place in my life now. I finished beauty school. I'm working in a salon, which I love. But I'm only working hourly. I get paid $10 an hour, and my hours are based on whether I can bring in clients or not. And I love that I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, but I feel like it's not enough. I feel like I'm capable of more. And so I'm really glad that, Amy Silverman, she kept reaching out to me and kept reaching out to me and kept reaching out to me. And like every once in a while, she'd be like, "Hey, how are you doing? You still want to, are you still interested in this?" And I really was. It's something like, I already help people with, the 30 pounds that I lost, the 2-year journey that I've already gone on. I've already helped people through that. And inspired others to lose weight. People be like, "Oh my gosh, thank you for posting on Instagram. I've dropped 3 pant sizes since I started following you, and that makes me feel so good." So why not make a future out of that? But I didn't have the money to get it started, because you have to, it's home workout programs. You have to buy the home workout programs and show people that they work. And I know that they work because I was doing I was doing a home workout program. That's how I lost the first 30 pounds. And it was something totally unrelated to Beachbody, but I'm ready to try something new, and I'm ready to start a new journey, and I'm ready to see how many more people I can inspire from going from the bottom to being, depressed and overweight for my height and unhappy, and all the way up to this person who's successful and fulfilled and happy and proud. If I can do it, so can other people. And if I can make a living by doing that, there's nothing better. Thanks for listening, guys.